Hello, I'm Lelde Smits for the Capital Network. Joining me at Minds and Money Hong Kong is Patrick Jaeger, the Vice President Project Development and Finance for APAC, Conergy. Now, Patrick, Conergy develops, finance, builds and maintains solar projects with its Asia Pacific headquarters based in Singapore. Where is demand for renewable energy the greatest in the Asia Pacific region?
It's driven off of necessity. The governments are setting targets in order to meet renewable energy standards and renewable energy targets, which they're setting by policy. Demand is obviously driven off of the large industrial centers, Japan, China, India, where power demand is just substantially significant. Japan, of course, has had a recent hit on reducing and switching off the nuclear power. So the need for power is ever increasing, especially when you have large demand centers. These are also the largest player in terms of solar power in particular, the largest capacity deployments, the largest investments amounts far and beyond are done out of China, with India having become a substantial number two in the region. For us, we tend to focus in addition also in areas where renewable as part of the generation mix is increasing substantially. So Australia, very recently, over the last 12 months, has substantially invested in its policies in order to attract solar power into the country. So we're very active in Australia. And Southeast Asia has, especially in the Philippines and in Thailand, started to also invest in its renewable energy policies and its renewable energy capacity. Thailand has built around 2 gigawatt worth of power, solar power, and the Philippines have connected about 800 megawatts worth of solar power, just finishing the second feed-in tariff round in March 2016.
Okay, so Patrick, you've given us an example of how Conergy really is meeting demand in the region, but could you give us a more specific example of how the company really gives a material difference to the communities in which it's working in?
Of course. So anywhere where solar power plants are constructed and built, the local community benefits quite tremendously from it. When you think of Southeast Asia as a developing market, when we built 275 megawatts across 8 projects in the Philippines over the last 18 months, there is a significant amount of work that we bring to the local communities. Building a solar power plant can be done with local workforce. You need a certain amount of skilled labor in order to conduct the design and the execution, but the actual workforce itself can be low-skilled labor. So we're bringing jobs effectively to those communities wherever we construct power plants. So that's one angle of it. Another one is we're currently building a power plant together with storage projects in North Queensland in the Lakeland community, Lakeland area. That project was partially funded by ARENA, of course, by the Australian government, which we're very grateful for. What we're doing here is the same. Bringing jobs to the community is one thing. The other element is the battery and the storage component that we're adding to this project will provide for the government, academics, and the local network operator to learn how battery interacts with their grid and how to operate a battery in connection with the grid, whether it's peak load shaving, whether it's ancillary services to the grid operator. These are substantial contributions which will allow the network operators to develop their networks and to interact better with the generators in the future. As more and more renewable energy is put into the system, we have to add a lot more battery in order to make the system work and stabilize the system and substantiate the work going forward.
Wonderful. And final question, we are here at Minds and Money, but also Future Energy and Finance. Can you outline or explain just the and you of course were presenting yesterday, why do you like participating in Future Energy and Finance?
For us, we're not just believing in it because it's our business, but we fundamentally believe that solar is the future of energy generation. It's been touted for a long time to become at least 50% of the entire generation component of the energy mix over the next, say, 20, 30 years. We strongly believe in that. Part of it will be delivered from distributed generation, which is basically not building substantial mega power plants, replacing coal or gas as a single power plant, but to put smaller power plants where the grid isn't yet available or where the grid isn't quite stable enough in order to substantiate the energy demand. So by being able to in the future deliver microgrids, 2 megawatt, 5 megawatt power plants into local communities, you alleviate poverty, of course, locally. You alleviate the need for governments to build the grid into these areas. You alleviate the need for thermal power, which of course has a substantial side effect in terms of CO2 emission, in terms of health, etc., etc. So these are elements that we really truly believe in. So Mines and Money, obviously, given the name, has a lot of mining implication to it. Mining relies on diesel-generated power mostly and largely. The cost decline that solar and battery have experienced over the last few years means that today solar combined with a battery is at a par with diesel-generated power. What's important to understand is the technology in itself isn't new, it's not scary, but the mining industry and the banking industry doesn't yet know how to work with it. To them, it's something that, because it's new for them, they have to have a leap of faith and be wanting and willing to work with the solar community in terms of delivering power to their operations.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the update from Conergy today.